Today we're going to show you how to change the hose coupler assembly on your portable dishwasher, and it's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver, a 1/4 inch nut driver, a pair of slip joint pliers, and a utility knife. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, the first thing we're going to need to do is to empty all the dishes and cutlery out of the dishwasher. We'll want to make sure that the coupler is disconnected from your faucet and that it is unplugged. We'll then pull it out into the floor where we have room to lay it on its side. So you'll want to put either a blanket or a towel or something down to protect the cabinet. And there's also going to be some water in these hoses, so you'll want something to collect that. Then we'll just lay it over on its side. So locate that wire harness. And just depress that locking tab and disconnect it. And with our slip joint pliers, I'm going to loosen the inlet fill hose. And a clamp for the drain hose with a 1/4 inch nut driver. And pull that drain hose off of the drain outlet. Retain the clamp. And then push the hoses through the wire and push those hoses through that wire strap. And then we'll stand the dishwasher up. Next, we'll open the door, and then we're going to remove 2 screws that go up through these mounting tabs attached to the cabinet that hold the top in place. Our Phillips head screw, so just remove both of those, and make sure we reuse the same screws so that we don't inadvertently put too long a screw in there and damage the top. Close the door and latch it. Then you can pull that top just forward a little bit. And that will unlatch it. There are 4 shoulder screws that fit into 2 keyhole slots at the back sides of the cabinet, and then 2 grooves on the front support bracket. We'll set that top aside. Next, we can rotate the cabinet around to the back. And you'll note 2 Phillips screws that secure the cabinet to the base of the dishwasher. Just remove those 2 screws. We'll rotate it around again. And we'll locate 2 screws that go down through that cross member and attach it to the tub of the dishwasher. We'll remove those 2 screws. Now, as you remove that last screw, the cabinet will want to tilt backward. And So we can just gently lift up on the front of that cabinet, and that will disengage 2 tabs, one on either side at the front. Just lift that cabinet back, pick up on the back of it, and just slide it completely off of the dishwasher. Pull the hoses up through. We can now set the dishwasher aside, and we're left with the cabinet and the couplers and hose assembly. Now take note that the 2 hoses will be taped together close to one end. We'll need to separate that tape, pull the hoses out through the cover on the back. So take our utility knife, just carefully slice that tape. And then we can feed that whole assembly out through the rear cover, and then we can discard the old hose assembly. We'll take the new assembly, and we'll start by fitting the drain hose portion through the bottom portion of that. And we'll take our new coupler assembly, and we'll begin by putting the drain hose through the bottom portion of that rear cover and the fill hose through the top portion. And we'll just feed that evenly through that opening and grasp the other end of the hose. And we'll join those two in about approximately the same position that the previous ones were, which is about 2 feet up the drain hose. So just take some tape and put a couple of wraps around those hoses to hold them together. And then also we'll take the power cord and we'll just pull that excess up out of the way. And again, we're going to take a little piece of tape and just tape that to the bottom of the cabinet so that it doesn't become dislodged when we reassemble. Just tape it to the side cabinet close to the rear corner. And we'll pull that excess cord out through, as well as the excess hose. And just leave enough hose there that it will reach the bottom of the cabinet. And then we can slide the cabinet and the new hose assembly back onto the dishwasher tub. We'll want those hoses to come in right above the counterweight block on the left rear and come right across the top, and then go through that wire tie that we removed them from during the disassembly. So just carefully guide the hoses into that area as we push our cabinet forward. Now next we're going to engage the little tab that protrudes from the base, one on either side, into a little slotted opening about 2 inches back from that bottom edge at the front of the cabinet. So line that up on both sides. Now next we're just going to pull that cabinet forward until the screws line up on that cross member, and we'll reinstall those. We can then rotate the dishwasher to gain access to the back, and we'll install the 2 screws on the back panel. Now you may have to lift up a bit on that back panel to line them up. Now when installing these screws, just make sure that that cabinet will lay flat against the back brace that the screws go into, and that we're not pinching the power cord in that area. And then before we put the top on, we're going to want to check and make sure that the hoses are not kinked in the back. So we're going to lay it on its side again. Okay, we'll locate the fill hose. We'll slide that through that wire tie. And then just look down through this opening to make sure that we have no twists in those hoses. We'll reconnect that fill hose to the valve. Tighten it with the slip joint pliers. And we'll keep that hose pointed towards the back of the dishwasher. Now next we'll take the drain hose, we'll feed it through that wire tie. And again, just do a visual inspection through the back. Make sure that we don't have any kinks in that hose or twists. Take the clamp, slide it over the hose, and then insert the hose onto the drain outlet. Slide the clamp down into position and tighten that with the 1/4 inch nut driver. And then we'll locate the wire harness that we taped to the cabinet. We'll locate that power cord that we taped to the cabinet. And then reconnect that connector. Make sure that the locking tab engages. And now we can stand the dishwasher up and put the top back on. We'll take that main top and locate the 2 shoulder screws that are closest to the edge. We'll go towards the back. We'll set them into the keyhole slot. And then while keeping a little downward pressure on that top, slide it straight back. We can open the door. That gives us better access to the 2 front mounting screws. Reinstall those and tighten them. Now check the operation of the hose. Make sure that it slides in and out freely. And we have the same length that we started with. Push the power cord back into position. And our repair is complete.